Hey, welcome to your next best step with Brek, the locker room for purpose-driven leaders. This is where we slow down, reflect, and we take our next best step through real stories, practical strategies, and rooted leadership wisdom. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, even the best leaders need a coach in their corner.
Hey, welcome back to your next best step, the leader's locker room. And man, I'm glad you're joining today. Here's something I want you to think about today. Most leaders diagnose a stalled team most often as a motivational problem. And my experience is that it's rarely that. Sometimes, but rarely that. Here's what's actually happened underneath the stall. People move toward a clear dream. They move away from a named drain, and they get blocked by a doubt they don't believe they can solve alone. You're saying, BC, what the heck are you talking about? Well, hey, we're going to talk about a framework that I borrowed from my coach, and it was so good. It's so helpful. And I thought we would talk about it today. There are three different forces, three different signals, we could say, three different jobs for us as leaders when it comes to our teams. And if you don't know which one is active on your team right now, you're not maybe leading as much as you are managing symptoms. You're polishing the program while the real problem sits underneath untouched. Here's a scene I bet you might recognize. You've got someone on your team who used to bring a lot of energy into the room. Now they show up and do exactly what's asked and leave. Nothing's technically wrong. Performance is fine, but something seems off. And your instinct maybe says, must be a motivation problem. So you try the usual moves, right? A kind word, a bonus structure, possibly a pep talk in the all hands on deck meeting, an attaboy, an attagirl, but none of it moves the needle for long because none of it is actually aimed at what is going on underneath this person or persons. That's because motivation isn't one thing. It's the visible symptom of one of three forces, and each force responds to completely different moves. Today, we're going to name these three forces, show you why your normal motivation playbook misses all of them, and give you one move you can run this week with the people who matter most to your team. Now, there's kind of a bit of a reversal, kind of a pattern that I want to borrow from my coach, Chris. And here's what it is. Most leaders build a plan first, a new initiative, a new process, a culture push. Then they roll it out and wonder why nobody bought in. And here's the reversal that I want us to think about. Isolated plans usually miss the actual problem or pain point that is in the organization. And they have to meet a problem that's already there. Your plan, your push, your initiative, just oftentimes it misses what's actually going on. The plan, the new push, the new culture initiative, that has to actually meet a problem that's already sitting in the organization. Think about the last initiative you might have rolled out that maybe fizzled, or maybe it was on a scale of 1 to 10, a 6, but you were hoping for a 9. I bet it wasn't a bad idea. It just wasn't built on top of a problem your team had already been naming or even felt permission to name. I've watched this happen with a new process meant to save people time that landed as one more thing actually to learn because nobody had asked whether more time was actually the problem on the table. Maybe the real problem was clarity on who owns what. Maybe it was relief from a specific bottleneck everybody already complained about at lunch, but never said in the meeting. The plan wasn't wrong. It was just answering a question nobody was asking. Translation for you as a leader. Before you roll out your next plan, your next initiative, you might want to ask these 3 questions. What do they already want more of, your team? What are they tired of carrying? And where do they feel in over their heads? You skip that and you're building the plan without intention. You're handing people a plan for a problem that was never named. It looks like a launch. It functions like more white noise. Real problems beat clever ideas every time. That's the lens for everything we're about to walk through. Naming real problems beats clever ideas all the time. Don't build the plan until you name the problem. And those 3 questions aren't random. They map exactly what the 3 forces we're about ready to talk about down. Want more of, tired of carrying, in over their heads. This is how it's framed: dreams, drains, and doubts. You ready to go deeper? Let's go. So, how do you actually find the problem that's already there? You listen for which of these 3 forces is active, and then you do the specific job each one requires. Dreams pull. Can your people name what they want more of? If they can't, you're leading without a magnet. A dream is the thing someone is moving toward. We all have dreams, a preferred destination that we want to move toward. It happens in the organizations at work just the same as it does in our personal lives. More ownership, more mastery, more impact, more income, more room to build. When a dream is named and you're connected to it, your people don't need to be pushed. They're already leaning forward. Your job as a leader with a dream is to ask about it directly, out loud, and then connect it to something real in front of them: a project, a stretch assignment, a path forward. What do you actually want more of in the next quarter, the next year? Is a strange question to most teams because, I'll be honest, almost nobody asks it. The leader who asks it first usually wins the trust in the room. I've sat across from leaders who assumed a quiet team member just maybe wasn't ambitious, maybe a tad lazy, until someone finally asked, and it turned out they'd been sitting on a dream for a year, for 2 years, for a decade, waiting to be asked instead of waiting to be noticed. Dreams don't usually announce themselves. They wait for an invitation. Here's the second part: drains. Drains push. What is a dream and what is a drain? A drain pushes. What's the thing you're privately tired of tolerating? Unnamed drains don't go away. They just go underground. Or disengagement. Quiet sarcasm in meetings, slower replies, fine answers that aren't fine. Your best people updating their resume instead of their goals. A drain is something someone is moving away from. And if you never name it out loud, they'll eventually just move away from the whole job. Your job as a leader with drains is name what you're noticing without defending it. Hey, I've noticed you've gone a little quiet in our team meetings. What's something you're tired of carrying that we haven't talked about? You're not promising to fix it on the spot. You're proving it's safe to say it out loud. That alone changes the trajectory of the relationship. Here's the trap that most of us leaders fall into when it comes to people's drains. They hear the complaint and we rush straight to defending the decision behind it. Well, we can't change the policy right now. Here's why. That response teaches your team the drain isn't worth naming next time. The goal in this conversation isn't resolution. It's proof that naming it didn't cost them anything. And here's the third thing: doubts. Doubts block. What's the thing they don't believe they can solve alone? This is where coaching, not managing, earns its keep, leaders. Doubt doesn't look like resistance, it looks like silence, delay, over preparation. A doubt is a block in front of the gap, a skill gap, a confidence gap, a what if I get this wrong in front of everyone gap. I often refer to Dr. John Townsend and the principle that he has so many principles that has helped me as a leader. And here's one of his principles. He talks about when it comes to leading: walk beside your people. You don't close someone's doubt by handing down an answer from above the gap. You close it by getting in the gap with them. Your job with doubt, leader, is stop managing the task and start coaching the person. What part, you could say, of this feels solvable to you? And what part feels like you'd need some backup? Most leaders skip straight to the reassurance, right? Oh man, you've got this, you can do this, which actually leaves people more alone because it tells them the conversation about the gap is over before it started. Dr. Townsend's language for this is walking beside, not walking ahead and not walking behind. Walking ahead turns into rescuing. You take the task back, and the doubt never actually closes. It just goes dormant until the next stretch assignment shows up. Walking behind turns into abandoning, figuring it out. I got trust in you. I believe in you, which confirms the exact fear that made them freeze in the first place. Walking beside is slower, and it's the only one of the three that actually closes the gap instead of avoiding it. Same person can carry all three at once: a dream they haven't said out loud, a drain they've stopped mentioning because nothing changed last time, and a doubt that they're quietly managing alone. Stalling may not be laziness. It might actually be one of these three forces operating without a name. And each one needs a different move from you, not the same generic pep talk. So, what do we do when we get stuck as leaders? Here's where this gets practical at the team level, not just in the one-on-one level. Even when you have found the dream, named the drain, and started closing the doubt gap for one person, it can still fall flat on the team level if the vision you're casting fails in one of the three predictable ways. You might want to use this as a checklist on your own communication. It's too broad. Your vision is too broad to be a magnet or to be magnetic. Vision so generic that no one feels personally pulled by it. Be the best in our industry doesn't pull anybody toward that dream. It's a banner, not a magnet. If your team can't tell you what it means for them specifically on Tuesday morning, it's too broad. Compare that to a vision that says what best actually looks like in the next 90 days for the person sitting across from the customer. That's specific enough to pull people toward it. Too personable to be scalable. Vision so tied to your own story, leader, that the team can't see themselves in it. This is the opposite part. This is the opposite failure on us sometimes as leaders. It's vivid, it's real, but it's mine. And it stays mine. Your people respect it, but they can't move into it because there's no room in the story for them. I see this often with founders and planters and people who have initiated new things. The origin story is genuinely powerful, but if every vision cast in moment has to circle back to how I started it, your team eventually hears as a history lesson, not as an invitation. Maybe it's too complex to explain quickly. If you can't say in one breath, your team can't repeat it to each other. Vision that needs a slide deck to explain dies in the hallway. The test isn't whether you can present it, it's whether your team can hand it to another coworker unassisted in one sentence. If your vision needs a deck, a doc, and a follow-up email to make sense, it's not a vision yet. Run your own vision through these 3 filters this week. Most leaders might be failing in one of them, and you may not know which one. And the irony is this: the same fix that closes the doubt gap for one person is the fix that makes vision land for a whole team. Get specific, make room for them in the story, and say it in one breath. Now, let's wrap this up. Let's make this concrete enough to actually run this week, because this is not your next best 100 steps. This is your next best step podcast. Picture 3 questions sitting around one center, the opportunity in front of you with a specific person on your team. What do they desperately want more of? That's the dream. What are they tired of externally? That's the drain. What keeps them stuck internally? That's the doubt. Pick one person, write down your honest guess for each one of those 3. Okay? Then sit down with them and test your guesses out loud. Not to fix anything in that conversation, just to name it accurately. A simple way, leader, you might want to open it up with as, hey, I've been thinking about what's actually driving you and what's actually might be draining you right now. That gets somebody to lean in. Can I run a few guesses by you? Sure. That single sentence does more relational work than most leaders manage in a whole quarter of check-ins. You know why? Because it tells the other person you've been paying attention to them specifically, not just about their output or their performance, but you have carefully been thinking of them. 3 things to remember going in. Pressure beats polish. A rough, honest conversation beats a smooth, scripted one. Real problems beat clever ideas. Like, hey, let's name what the problem is. Don't show up with a solution before you've confirmed what the problem is. One clear opportunity beats many options. Resist the urge to solve all 3 forces in one setting. And the line to keep in your back of your pocket, in the back of your time, is don't fix it. Let's just name it. Naming does more than most leaders give it credit for. It's the move that turns a stalled person or a stalled team back into a moving one. Not because the problem disappeared, but because it's no longer invisible. Hey, alignment creates momentum. Not more pressure, not more meetings, not more, hey, we got an issue here. When a dream is named, a drain is named, and a doubt is being closed, you don't have to push anybody. The team moves, the people move, because the friction that was quietly draining them is finally on the table. Hey, this is EDOT. Everything depends on trust in practice. And it's done and it's built naming these things, not in one big speech, but in the small moment where you ask the question nobody else asked and actually wait for the answer. You don't need a bigger initiative this quarter. You need 3 accurate names: 1 dream, 1 drain, and 1 doubt. This week, name your 1 dream, your 1 drain, and 1 doubt currently alive on your team out loud to the actual people in it, and that's carrying it. Don't fix it, name it. That's your next best step. Hey, if this kind of framework helps you lead with more clarity, subscribe to the Thursday Throwdown. This is my weekly email where I unpack leadership lessons rooted in ancient truth sent straight to your inbox every Thursday. And if you're ready to talk about what's actually stalling your team or your own growth as a leader, hey, hit me up at bcleadershipco.com. That's bcleadershipco.com. And I'd love to have a conversation. We'll go jump on a call and we'll figure something out. Hey, until next week, keep on taking your next best step, and we'll see you back here next week.